Oh, hi there. Welcome to another episode of the Okanagan Gardener and Forager channel. Today, I'm going to talk to you about a tree that I'm actually in it right now. Ponderosa Pine. Ponderosa Pine is also known as yellow pine, western yellow pine, bull pine, and rock pine. And the scientific name is Pinus ponderosa. It's a large conifer, 15 to 30 meters tall. And it has a straight trunk that can be 1 to 1.5 meters in diameter. One of the ways you can identify ponderosa pine is with its bark. The bark on the ponderosa pine has this orange-brown to cinnamon color, and as it gets older it gets these deep fissures in it, and the bark looks like jigsaw puzzles that comes off into these little pieces very easily. The thick bark is part of what makes it fire resistant because it can burn and still can survive. Another way you can identify the ponderosa pine is with its leaves, the needles. They have the longest needles of all conifers in BC, and they are found in bundles of 3. They're like 10 to 20 centimeters long. I'll show you what I mean. And they come off in these bundles, and you can see 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. Another one I pulled off. Another way you can identify the ponderosa pine is on the cones. They're broadly conical shape, 8 to 14 centimeters long, and at the end of the scales they've got a spike on them. You see the spike at the end of each scale. Something cool about them, some of them, they will stay closed and on the tree, but with fire that can make them open up and drop their seeds. Another thing about identifying the ponderosa pine is that typically there aren't much needles along the branch. The needles are at the ends, forming these tufts at the ends. Ponderosa pine form open forests in hot, dry valleys and at low to mid elevations, and also in grasslands and on open, dry slopes. They're very tolerant of high temperatures and drought, and are shade intolerant. And you can find them in southern BC and south to California, mainly east of the Cascades, but some are west of the Cascades, and they are also found in southern Alberta. Speaking of the trees being fire resistant, there's some evidence of, looks like there was a fire here at some point that burnt at some of the bark, but the tree survived. Same over here. I don't know when or how bad it was, but looks like this guy survived a fire. A part of the ponderosa pine that's edible is the inner bark, the cambium, and that can be eaten raw or cooked, and that's underneath this thick outer bark and before the wood. There's a layer in between, and traditionally indigenous groups in the area would take like large sections of it, and what you would do if you wanted to keep the tree alive is, because the bark, the inner bark, is used by the tree to move nutrients around the tree, you would just take one side. If you went all the way around, that would kill the tree. Another source of food and or medicine from the ponderosa pine is the needles. Using the needles to make pine needle tea. The pine needle tea is rich in vitamin A and C, and the tea can help break up phlegm, open the sinuses, and increase secretions to help clear the lungs. The needles could be used to make tea any time of year, but apparently spring new growth is better. And I keep on hearing that there are some concerns that people have about sickness. So maybe people are interested in other ways to get good vitamins. But eating it probably isn't one of them. Another part of the Ponderosa pine that was used for medicine was the pitch. That's like the resin, the secretions that maybe come from an injury on the tree like that. Looks like kind of like hard honey. And that was chewed to help lung and respiratory infections and coughing and sore throats. Before I go, I'll say that Ponderosa pine tea should not be drunk by pregnant women, and also consult with a local expert and all that, because I'm not a doctor. But I will say that the Ponderosa pine sure make beautiful environments, and they naturally, with fires coming along and cleaning things up, which doesn't happen as much because humans are suppressing the fires, so Douglas fir is taking over in a lot of places, but they make these open areas where it's easy to walk through. It's like a park naturally, so pretty nice. And if you liked my video, then please give it a thumbs up and maybe leave a comment or something. Thanks for watching.